evening all, welcome back to The Division, or Total Division rather, and today we're going to show you a PvE mission. This is Broadway Emporium, really early mission, so this is actually quite old footage in terms of what you got, but I wanted to show it because it's just such a great mission. I do like this mission a huge amount. Quick shout out, go to the SquadB community on PSN and join, and also keep an eye out for CO Pyrex parties, and you're welcome to join. Let's go shoot things, brah. And there we go. Now watch this wonderful level. This is probably one of the finest set pieces I've seen in gaming ever, because I just think, oh, and I've cut it out. Look at that, I already edited it out. Good start. Burning the Christmas tree. Oh, I've spoiled it a bit. I won't spoil it any more than that, but burning that Christmas tree was, and this store generally burning down, has been probably one of the highlights of this game so far. Unbelievably good footage, unbelievably sumptuous visuals for the eye. Really have enjoyed it. So yeah, loving the Division generally as we go. Recently there's been a bit of thought groupthink, if you like, around how best to do the Dark Zone. So let me share these thoughts with you through my mouth into your ears, into your mind. Effectively, you could level up to level 30 and you'd probably be fine and you'd probably have fun. But we want to propose to you a new concept of doing things, which is you hang 10 and basically go to about level 19. Let me tell you why. So level 19 is keeping you within the 15 to 20 bracket, I believe, in the Dark Zone. So you're not playing super high level baddies and players. You are playing effectively, I think, mid-range players. And I did the Dark Zone with, I think it was level 12, 13, 14, 15, something like that. And in fact, it was under 15, so it's 14. So I was playing in the bracket of 1 to 14. And barely anyone attacked us. Barely anyone knew how to play the game, it appeared. So there was no threat, let's say. In fact, the threat was us. So that was kind of meh. So I was not particularly blown away by that. Now, what's interesting is as we've started to level up beyond 15, the Dark Zone is getting a bit more challenging, so that's nice. But I would say probably the best thing to do is keep it around level 19, really, and that gives you good access to probably not so difficult loots. Over time, though, obviously you're going to have to level up because you're going to want everything unlocked, and you're going to want level 30 items, which effectively are the best in the game. So this is kind of the thought is what's the best thing to do. For me, I think, oh god, as I get shot down, for me the Dark Zone is something that I think you want to kind of just use as I guess something to do to get the best loot, and then come out of the Dark Zone and have a fun time in the PvE zone. Oh my god, look at that. You see that? Beautiful. So for me, that's kind of what makes the most sense. Oh god, I die a lot in this one. Slightly embarrassing, not the best. But I think that's probably what you use the Dark Zone for, is that you actually use it to get revived, you use it to get the best loot that you can do for your level, and then go and run a few more levels in the game. So for me, it's a nice mixture. I don't know, post in the comments if that makes sense. You use the Dark Zone to get the best loot quicker, and basically you then use that loot. Once you've leveled up 2 or 3 more levels, you then go back into the Dark Zone, and then you get more loot to then take you further up a few more levels. Does that make sense? For me, it just makes perfect sense, but maybe it's just something that's in my mind. So I think that's worked out quite well. One of the things that I think has really worked out, and the credit goes to Cyrax for this, because he was the one advising that one of the best things to probably do is to not sell your guns. The best thing to do is to deconstruct the guns. And let me tell you why this is actually a brilliant idea. Go and run side missions. Now, I've been running side missions at level 14 and 15, okay? And what it's done is, because I've run pretty much all of them, it's given me now some purple blueprints. So effectively, these are blueprints for purple items in the game, and I can now use this to build my own level. In fact, I've got my first purple items have been things that I've crafted, which is interesting. So I'll give an example. I was running a backpack, I believe, with an armor of something like 72. The blueprint came available from just doing a simple side mission, very, very easy one as well. And that backpack, once I crafted it, had an armor rating of 158. So, you know, you've got to pick and choose. A lot of the blueprints are crap and not worth doing. But I would say actually some of them, once you've got the right blueprint, you can basically blueprint your blue guns, and you can blueprint purple and so on. But obviously, those of you at a high level are probably laughing at this low level discussion. But if you see what I mean, it does make sense if you're at that kind of level, because what it effectively gives you is access to purple gear that you can basically use. So, you know, good stuff. I highly recommend it. I don't sell a thing anymore, and I've still got loads of money, and I never use it. But I actually deconstruct everything, and I'm able to craft really good equipment from time to time. And I think a good example of this is, these are old guns. So I don't use this M60 anymore, or whatever it is. I actually now use a Steyr AUG. So if those of you who are gun nuts, you know what I'm talking about. Because I was able to craft, well, I could buy a Steyr AUG for like 7,000 credits, and it was something like 5,000 DPS. It's not the best indicator, but work with me on this. And funny enough, I could then craft, so I got the blueprint to craft a blue Steyr AUG, which is doing 9,000 DPS. So, you know, okay, that's had a few more clips, ammo in the clip and so on. But either way, it was a much superior gun. It's probably been the best gun that I've had. So if you look in the last video, that was the gun I was using, I think, there. But anyway, so I honestly think crafting is worth looking at. I honestly think crafting could be the one gem of this game that I think a lot of people are just not going to pay any attention to. But when you look at, well, certainly by doing the side missions, so here's just the obvious. I know I'm stating the obvious here, but let me just do it. Side missions unlock blueprints, okay? The encounters unlock parts, so you can basically get parts for the 3 tech centers, the medical tech and security center. And missions obviously give you a collection of things. So, you know, it's pretty interesting, I think, that you can basically get all these kind of things. So definitely worth looking at crafting. So there we go. Just this final point on this map. This, I think, has been, I've got to admit, the one thing that I think has been a real gem in the game for me has been the level design. Now, this is a very sweeping statement, but the level design is by far the best I've ever seen, because they've put so much detail in that they probably didn't need to. As in, you'll walk into an apartment and somebody's actually, like, must have gone round New York apartments. So even on the walls, they've got the bike hanging facilities, and they've got all of the rooms properly kind of laid out that you would expect a New York apartment to have. The only mistake is they're a lot bigger than really the reality, but it's really quite cool that they've got this, you know, real depth of detail. So, for example, we're in the subway system, and it opened up into an open tunnel, a sewer kind of thing, and there's thousands and thousands of bodies there. And it was like, oh, that's so clever, you know, just loads and loads of bodies just left there, because where else the hell do they put them? Really good stuff. Love the detail they put into this game. I mean, even just looking around this, you've got all these items on top of displays, and you've got, you know, it's just incredible. You've got clothing departments with clothes in. You've got just so much detail that, again, you know, you just would think to yourself, well, there's no need to put this level of detail in, because so many players are just going to run past it shooting at the distant object. But when you actually stop and look at your surroundings, it's incredible. So, you know, heartily recommend just go and do that. Take some time off from killing everything and just go and look at a particular part of the map. And it's amazing the level of detail they put in. I mean, just this department store was like, wow, it blew me away what they'd done. And one of the interesting things, as my phone goes, is that they put a huge amount of detail in the fact that it's Christmas time. So you'll see in just a minute, as we kill this dude, take his loot, and show you the forum, the lobby rather. It's amazing what they've done with this thing. It is just. So really, really impressed. I think this game is certainly here to stay, so I'm hoping you're enjoying it. In fact, if you're not, then you're going to have a bad time, as I would say, because I am definitely going to be playing this game for some time. I just get such a kind of, I don't know, it's relaxing, it's fun. You can decide to do missions, you can go and do PvP, you can go into the dark zone for frantic, crazy fights that never end. And I just think you're going to be having a good time on no matter what your tipple is. And I'll give you another example of this in terms of the combat fights that we've been having so far. There's certainly something that's been switched on recently, as in they've tweaked a bit of code somewhere, because we're getting into gunfights, and you know, it's us, then down the street is the enemy, and then all of a sudden, round the corner comes an officer and his entourage of one of the many factions, and then we've been flanked. And we're then all of a sudden having to fight this retreating front line battle against two groups. It's just amazing. I cannot just say how clever the AI is in this, because they have done such an amazing job. And I just think, certainly when it comes to, you know, all of a sudden watching the way that the Rikers will suddenly happen across a group of the rioters, or who will happen across suddenly a group of cleaners, watching them all fight it out is just unfreaking believable. And I do think this is probably one of the gaming moments of gaming history, is that you're going to be playing such an interesting, innovative, and exciting game that I honestly think is going to just change the way it is. You know, I know I'm getting a bit grandiose now, but I just think there's so much clever, good, interesting ideas here, and I think in terms of gun game, this is something that I think is just going to keep a lot of players very happy. Now, having said that, there's also quite a large amount of players who've already got to level 30 and are pretty much battling their way through the dark zones, and probably finding that that's really all there is left to them, which again, that's pretty cool. I'm curious to know if there's a hard level on the dark zone, but I'm sure we'll find out. But anyway, there we go, look at that, the whole isn't it incredible? The whole atrium is pretty much put out, the sprinklers came on, and yeah, just unbelievable. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you next time.